Welcome, y'all. This is the Bottom of the Bottom podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jay Walker the third. That is my brother, my partner, then my co-host, Carolina Dirt 803. He's still trying to get in here. It looks like, man, this is a special episode. We have an Irmo, South Carolina Dutch Fork alumni, but those are just the things that tie the band. Outside of that, this is one of the most extraordinary out of the extraordinary people that we know from this area. A few things: Carolina basketball, Lady Gamecock, all star in the history of the program, um, WNBA championship, NCAA double championship, NCAA championship, international. We could do all this all day long, and we would just do accolades, man. I'd like to welcome y'all and introduce y'all to Alaina Coates. How are you this evening?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. Was really excited. Couldn't wait for this hour to be upon us today, and be here. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. Carolina, what you got for her?
Hey, no, I appreciate her coming on. Like I said, behind the scenes, one of these Dutch Fork alumnus that we proud of. Heard about her growing up. Our neighbor, close friend, our pops, his granddaughter actually played on a team with you, Miss Sierra Stokes.
Oh,
Yes,
hey.
yeah. So I basically watched her grow up. So I've heard about you for years, even before you were a Gamecock. So I appreciate you coming on here. Dutch Fork family, Gamecock fan to you, which is alumnus. WNBA star. We just love you being on here. That's it.
I really just appreciate y'all having me, asking me.
Now, I'm gonna tell you in a real way, man. We are very proud of being from the state of South Carolina. And it's a little different for us. Like, we grew up military, so it's not we've been here our whole entire life. We've traveled the globe, and this is where our parents made home. And for us, there's no better place in the world. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to get right, just because there's so much to talk about, man. Like, you got layers and layers and layers upon layers of dope things to get into. But in the beginning, as a child, you pick up a basketball. Did you imagine the trajectory that you would have in the sport of basketball?
Honestly, no. I didn't pick up basketball until I was 8 years old. I started off doing cheerleading and gymnastics. And then I transitioned into like soccer and rec league track. So it wasn't until I saw my brother actually playing for Friarsgate, and I was just like, I want to try this sport out because I hadn't gotten into it yet. And I was tall, so I was like, I'm 8 years old, so I'm like, I'm tall. I think I'll be okay. Like, I think I'll be pretty good. And then I get out there, and rec league went great, and I was just out there having fun, and I didn't even realize that like people were looking. I was like, y'all need to get her into AAU and stuff. So yeah, then I was able to play with Coach Oots with the Carolina Crush, and then after that, honestly, it really wasn't until I started playing AAU that I realized that this could really go somewhere, because playing against a whole bunch of other girls, if not older than me, um, and being able to be dominant. Obviously I'm 8, growing up, still having to develop and stuff, but that definitely, yeah, for sure, AAU is where I really started to realize that, oh, okay, we got a little extra razzle dazzle. We might be able to do something. Yeah.
You said you didn't pick up the ball till 8, like it was 18. That's
Yeah.
still pretty young to commit.
Oh, but I was a kid that was gonna try. Well, my parents, thank God for my parents. I was the kid. My brother and I, we were allowed to do an array of things so we could figure out what our niche was. I loved playing soccer. I loved doing rec league track, but ultimately I realized that my biggest love was basketball. Even as I got older, and I was just like, oh, I'll just play other sports to keep myself in shape. for basketball. So yeah.
And
So
you were gonna be easily the tallest gymnast ever.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
and legs just flopping everywhere, kicking everybody in the stands.
And at that point, I hadn't nailed a backflip yet. I was on the road, but then I was just like, I got introduced to soccer, and I was just like, so gymnastics had to go. But I still have a love for it.
Absolutely.
So did you and your brother have the Reggie Miller Cheryl Miller rivalry going on? Did he bust your ass for a little bit till you was a certain age, or
Oh,
was you already on him?
absolutely. He also was a tall. It's funny because now as we reach our adult age, I'm taller than him by like 1 inch. But obviously growing up definitely was rivalry. We had the hoop in the driveway.
Yeah.
We was right on out there with our dad, and he was just out there making me better. I'm young and emotional, and I'm just like, getting bent out of shape about certain stuff. But when I look back over the course of all of it,
Yeah.
it was a good time. I didn't realize how competitive I was until I look back and realize how much I really wanted to beat my brother and my dad. Because it wasn't just my brother; it was my brother and my dad.
Yeah.
And the day that I finally beat both of them in 21 and I blocked my daddy's shot in the same game, I was just like, oh yeah, no, that's it. I went in the house. You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I win. I'm done. Bye. Mom's making dinner. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna just wait for her even if she's not done. Y'all can play with y'all, but like I hit a new milestone and I was like, you can't tell me nothing. So I'm gonna go inside.
As a man, I can only imagine your father like going back to his room like, she good, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like
He,
that's a gut check as a man.
he probably was just like, I'm proud of her. We're getting better, but the block though, because
I could have done without her beating me ever.
yeah, it's like I was like, I hope you didn't think that I was never gonna do this. But I love you, but if I want to do these to other people, I have to do it against the two most dominant men that I know in my life. So hey,
Yeah.
and if I'm being more so
No,
my
they,
brother, they are the biggest reason why I like to bang in the paint. Because he always just taught me never run from contact, and that's just stuck with me up until now. So
well, absolutely, man. And just like not to fast forward too much, y'all played some really tough physical games in Columbia and on the road. And just as a fan watching, I was event staff at Colonial Life Arena for a lot of games, so I got to see it up close and personal, man. You a tough lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
those
seen I seen the elbows, the high bows, and the hip checks and all of that, man. And it take a lot.
it do, but I don't know what it is, but I just get so much joy with like just battling with somebody, and then like you get the and one, or you just get the bucket, or you just do that for the full amount of time that you're on the floor. I don't know if there's any way I could put into words how much I love being the banging post player, especially since I kind of feel like we've gotten away from them after a while. Like I feel like people don't really like to bang. People like they're aggressive and they can take contact, but they don't like to like really go at it for real.
Right.
Trying to bring them back, working on bringing them back because I just
I,
really wish a way I could formulate into words like how
well,
much
I
I
feel like that's Dawn's formula. Like Dawn she coaches, and I watch way more women's basketball because of y'all and Dawn um than I ever thought I would watch. I don't care about the pros no more. It's just too much money, man. Like I get it, y'all are like upper echelon athletes, but it just don't feel the same. There's no rivalry no more. Everybody's cool. I grew up with 80s basketball, people getting punched and fought and no technicals. So I'm kind of partial to that. But the way Don coaches with the two bigs and the physical play and the physical defense is like an ode to that throwback game, man. And that's dope.
oh yeah, absolutely. She's really good with making sure that her post players, whatever two are on the floor, we are on the same page. We are on a string. one's high, one's low, one's left, one's right. Like she made sure, and that was something that really made me feel comfortable with her as a coach. When I got into USC, I was just like, because a lot of people don't know that I did not know really about the stuff that Coach Staley did until like she was recruiting me.
That was my next question. When did she show up on your radar? Or that when did her legacy, show up on your radar?
So it more so showed up on my radar, I want to say maybe my freshman or sophomore year. I was a big cartoon kid, Saturday cartoon kid. Yeah, and I was just playing basketball. I was, I didn't immerse myself in the entire like culture that.
Right.
But yeah, it was definitely early.
Okay.
What's
You
the
didn't get
first?
to see the episode of Martin?
Oh no, I did see the episode of Martin, but I was already in college.
Right.
I was always in college, yeah.
So
But it's
what
okay though. I know that she's great. Add on to that legacy. So, it doesn't matter about knowing about it as soon as it happened,
For sure.
at some point. And I know that my coach is literally one of the greatest, if not the greatest. So
what's the first thing she taught you? Whether it's basketball or life, what's the first thing she taught you?
mental toughness is gonna take you places.
Okay.
Being able to be in a situation, let's say you're down 30. Anyone's gonna be like, all right, we just out here. No, you gotta be mentally tough and you gotta play through that. The game's not over until it's 0-0 in the fourth quarter and that final buzzer is over. You need to do what you do best for your team in that team unit, and y'all need to figure it out. Like in mental toughness, actually, yeah, that was the biggest thing that I took away from her because Lord knows sometimes even banging in the paint as I got older, you get older, your body changes and all that stuff, and that's another mental toughness thing right there.
Yeah.
I know what I can do and provide for teams that I am with. And I do know that people, for the most part, know that I like to bang. And a lot of people will welcome that challenge. And along with being like physically tough, you have to be mentally tough too. You have to do that for the entire time that you are on the floor. Like you gotta, and you know how bigs are. You gotta run the floor. You gotta rebound. You gotta box out. You gotta do all this stuff, and that can be a lot. It can be very tiring and draining. So you gotta be mentally tough so that you can stay in there. Because if not, you're gonna put your feelings on your shoulder, and then yeah, you're just gonna be out there doing stuff, and there's key that your coach let you just rock out and figure it out or not.
We
So yeah.
talk about like the levels, you know what I'm saying? Like your biggest jump, like AAU kind of helps curve that a little bit at a young age.
Mhm.
But when you went from high school to the NCAA and you were playing with 22, 23-year-olds, like how was that transition for you going from young, true freshmen playing against these grown women, essentially?
It was a shock. I can definitely say that. On top of, well, first of all, what people need to understand is, like you said, is levels. High school intensity way different than college intensity. And oh shoot, I just had a brain fart. Can you reiterate? Sorry. Oh
No,
my.
no, no. Just the levels of that
Yeah.
transition from high school, physicality, even the training, everything that comes into making that transition from playing people, your peers, to playing women, grown people.
Oh yeah. It was definitely it was a shocker because in high school, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't feel challenged in terms of playing against people like my height and up. Like it was literally, I'm taller than everybody. Just throw the ball away, middle of the square. Stuff. And now granted, I worked hard. Like I don't ever just come out and be like, oh, I'm 6'4", I'm gonna just come in here and no. Like
Right.
y'all watching me in my career and stuff, that's just not who I am. And it was definitely a huge shock in terms of the basketball, in terms of your mentality, in terms of the conditioning. They
Right.
sent, for a fact, they sent me a list of stuff that I could be doing in the downtime before I got there to, get myself in a better space. And the crazy thing was, I was doing them. I was doing it, and I still got there, and it was just like, what? So it's just like understanding that the level of intensity is extremely different is the first part. But all you have to do is just be locked in and just be committed to the process, honestly.
Right. That
And
head start. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. That that head start. I want to steal a question from Q&D from Knuckleheads. Like what you said, you were taller than everybody. It's just kind of like hands, from ninth to probably your freshman year. Who
mhm.
was the first person that gave you buckets? Like, oh shit, it's real out here.
If I'm being completely honest, the only person that I can like verbatim remember giving me buckets for real, or I just had a rough time dealing with her, was Alaina McDaniel that played for Spring Valley.
Okay.
Because we kind of had, I don't know when we got introduced to that region, but we had like obviously we had like a weird rivalry going on. Not that we didn't like each other, just Dutch Fork, Spring Valley. You know, sorry Irmo, but Irmo wasn't in the conversation with us during those years. Like, I'm just being honest. More so my time going out, because they did have a really good team. Just like every program, at some point you're gonna have to hit the rebuilding stage, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, that it's different.
I want to ask you because like as a as a big, you move your feet very well. You've always moved your feet very well.
Thank you.
Um, uh,
I know a lot of big,
yeah,
clumsy, slew foot.
that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You, Asia, and Boston, all three of y'all move your feet good. I feel like, and I'm not trying to fast forward. I'm just trying to give you a comment on moving your feet. Like I feel like Cardoza now
Mhm.
is a step behind y'all because the way y'all move y'all feet. Is that something like the three y'all already had, or is that something that Dawn taught? Like I feel like Cardoza mostly uses her size right now, and the
Mhm.
three of y'all moved y'all feet a little bit more than her.
I think it's just kind of more so we knew what worked for us, and we also believed that we could keep the person who we're guarding in front. Like, say for example, actually, Betty, I'm gonna go back to the Kentucky game from my senior year, and they played us at home. There was a little point guard that I don't know how I ended up on her, but I ended up on her, and she tried to she tried to do her thing to get to the basket and score, but I was able to keep her in front of me, and ultimately I was able to get the block, get it off, and we going down the court. I just think that footwork, because footwork wasn't something that I purposely worked on.
The
It is
soccer probably helped though.
it definitely helps though, but I do feel like using what works for you to your ability. If it works, then absolutely continue to do it. But I'll never discourage anybody
Yeah,
from, working on footwork, because being her height, being as talented and aggressive as she is, and then she got the quick feet like we do.
yeah,
That's just one of the smaller things that can just take her that much higher.
yep.
She's
That's
already an elite player.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what that's
Yeah.
what that's what I was gonna say because I feel like it's crazy because the three of y'all seem like y'all match a little bit more. Like it's like when Don got you, it's like all right, Asia. Like all y'all have the three of y'all have something in common. I think Cardoza brings just something else, and I just think like your nastiness is kind of what she needs. Like I
Oh,
just feel like you're nasty. Like you said, you ain't got no problem begging, and she probably don't neither. But that nastiness, everybody don't have that. Like you can't teach that nastiness. And like you said, you battled your dad, you battled your brother. You didn't feel like the competition was there at Dutch Fork, even though it was there. Then when you got there, it's like everything just kept poking at you. You wanted to be more. So that nastiness, everybody don't have that. And I
mhm.
just feel like you have that. And if she had that, like I think she would put up even crazier numbers.
Yeah. Because she putting up great numbers.
Yeah, she put up great numbers.
On her thing right now, even
Yeah,
with Brazil.
Yeah,
Like, she's been doing her thing for sure.
she has. She has. She really has. I just wanted to comment you on basically the whole thing about you moving your feet. Like you was one of those bigs. I was just like, God, no, she like you said, like you guarded 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people can't say that.
Posting, sliding through the paint,
Yeah.
backspin, like y'all had a full, what I'm saying? You had the full repertoire.
Like,
Easy.
yeah, people don't understand that, like, we also have to guard everybody. We are literally the rim protector. We are the last line of defense. So not only do we have to rebound, box out, run the floor, sprint the floor, do all that stuff, we also, there's a possibility that we might be guarding 1 through 5 in the same possession when we go back on the other end. So to understand, y'all need to show some love to your post players because we go through a lot. We do a
For
lot
sure.
for y'all. But
So moving from the glorious days of Carolina Gamecock basketball, you get drafted into the NBA, the WNBA. What is that? What is that trend? Is it just pure excitement? Like, what is when you declare and you get drafted by the Chicago Sky? Like, what was that feeling?
honestly, that entire time was it was a little weird for me emotionally. Like, as y'all know, I had my senior year, and that was my first major injury ever. Like, I tore my meniscus in high school, but I was only out for 2 weeks.
Right.
But that one, it because it was my first what's the word I'm looking for? Super serious like injury, and having surgery and all that stuff. Emotionally and mentally, I went through a lot because I suffered pretty much every senior's nightmare. You get to your senior year, you're ready to finish doing your big one, and then you get hurt. But shout out to my teammates for doing the darn thing, and Coach Lands,
Completing the task. Absolutely.
and still bringing the situation back. But it was an array of emotions. I kind of felt like I was in a weird, like, out of body type experience. But I can say when I did get the call that I was going to be one of the 10 or 12 that get invited to come to the draft, it was extremely exciting. I remember watching Lisa Welch and Tiffany Mitchell and all them when they got drafted, because we sat there and watched, and I was just like, I get to do that. Like, this
Right.
is but then on the flip side, it wasn't as exciting because I'm on a boot, I'm on a scooter, and we're in New York. I think this is my first time ever being in New York. I can't, we can't really do anything. I'm kind of, big cripple, hobbling around New York and all that stuff. But ultimately, when I was sitting there, and then they said, and with the number 2 pick to the Chicago Sky, like, it was immediate shock. A lot of people asked me, like, did you not want to go? Because they were just like, you didn't, like, what? And I was just like, no, I literally was just caught off guard because, again, on a scoot in a boot, I'm going number 2. And, I can admit I do have moments where I don't think I try not to dwell in the past. So I didn't think about everything that I did at USC and everything I did leading up to that point, leading up to me being chosen number 2. And after I realized, like, you deserve this, it was a huge, like, wave of pride that came through me, because I was like, you did this. Like,
Absolutely.
God gave me the talent, and I did what I was supposed to do when I was supposed to do it, where I was supposed to do it, and I'm reaping the benefits of all the labor and hard work that I sowed. So ultimately, when it was all said and done, it was just sheer excitement and happiness and pride. And I do wish sometimes that I could go back and change things, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to have the amazing, like, story and testimony that I have now if I didn't go through my journey. So
You were in your moment, and like you said, it's difficult to process when you've been the leader and playing at the highest level and that player, and even in such a dope moment, you don't feel like yourself. You don't feel you're not 100% from the injury. That's a lot to deal with.
It was a lot, but I appreciated the fact that Coach Amber, because Amber Stocks, so there, her and the organization, that they wanted to take a leap of faith on me and give me that chance. And I will forever be grateful, because that 18-year-old girl and that little scoot and that little book, she was ecstatic.
So
She,
what was more
I was not 18.
more,
I said the wrong age.
what was more memorable? Your first start at USC or your first start in the NBA, in the WNBA? Like, what moment was big to you?
You know what? Even though, no, actually, it would have to be my first start at USC, because my daddy was there.
Yeah.
He he was also military. We didn't have to do a whole bunch of traveling, like, at least not when my brother and I were born. But he's basically, second coach. And being able to, finally look up, because freshman year he wasn't able to be there because he got, what is the word? Deployed. There we go. I don't know how I keep. I was about to say promoted. I was like, technically he did get promoted, but that's not what that was. And just being able to look in the stands and see him do the little subtle cues that I would need, like, just a small one would be like, he would be turning a dial up if I needed to increase my intensity. And we just, if I just was looking frazzled or whatever, he knew I was gonna look at him. He was just gonna be like, you're good. So I would definitely say that moment for me, because my freshman year, like, I was able to accomplish so much, and rack up, accolades and stuff. And I was super happy. And being able to do all that in front of my dad, yeah, I definitely want to say that was more.
So who was the first person to bust your ass in the WNBA?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if that to me first. I don't know if it was BG. I don't know. I
When you say BG, you talking about Brittany Griner.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's just for the people.
Oh
I
yeah,
know what you're talking about.
because the crazy thing about it was, actually, I take that in terms of playing other people. Brittany Griner was probably my biggest problem. But in terms of, like, in my own camp, Cheyenne Parker, seasoned vet. She know what she's doing. She was cooking me in practice. And I'm a rookie. It was part of the process. But thank I thank her. I thank God for allowing her to be the person. She's such an amazing person. We're still good friends to this day, and just having her be able to be the one to cook me while also coaching me to help me fix not getting cooked, like, it was. I thank God for her. I thank God for her. And I can get flustered and stuff too, and I can get, very frustrated sometimes. And having a vet that literally is going her hardest against you so that you can be your better self, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Absolutely. It's part of the process. I think, a lot of times when you are athletically gifted, you not even athletically, because you can be tall and again be slew foot and walk like you got two left shoes on. But for you to be honing your craft and to be ahead of the game through, your formative years in the high school, I think it can get mundane. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you get to that next level and the intensity increases, those are the things that you needed to be where you are to be a WNBA champion.
Right.
For sure, for sure. And
So
not to get too emotional, man, but rest in peace, Nikki McCray. God bless her family. What does she mean to you?
she means a lot. She was literally so involved in my recruiting process. She never switched up. She amazing woman, amazing coach. Was so excited for her when she told us that she was pregnant with Thomas. Uh, her presence is definitely missed. When I got that text message from Coach Staley, didn't I thought that I maybe read it too fast when it because it
Right.
phone and it just came down and I was just like nah that's not what that said, and then I went and opened it and I read it, and yeah it's still, I'm not gonna lie, it still bothers me. I didn't get to go to the dedication game, nor did I get to go to her funeral, so the last thing she told me was happy birthday, and I told her thank you, and I think that they were like I miss you's exchange, but it's
What,
just rough because I wasn't expecting that to be the last thing that we exchanged.
exactly. Exactly. You talk about tough. She's a tough lady. Again, that's more. I'm a little older. That's more. My era of the glory days of Pat Summitt, and she's probably one of the most recognizable players um, from that era for me. You know what I mean? Um, did she like? What were her glory days stories, or what was her coaching style? What made y'all connect?
She, it's weird because it's like how some adults so they kids be like, I ain't one of your little friends. Well, she like literally was like a coach friend. Like I felt comfortable with her on a different level because I want to say they had their eyes on me since like maybe the eighth grade. I would come to the games and stuff, and obviously they did Eagles route, like they didn't go under the table or anything. So when it was time to be able to talk to me and stuff, we were just able to be able to talk and connect more and more. And she really, I have, there are a little community of people around my mom's age that I look at as other mothers, like God moms, and at that young age, just she, I looked at her like another mom in a sense. And things happen sometimes, and I'm a kid, she's an adult, like player coach. Sometimes happen, we butt heads, but yeah,
You gonna do that?
Yeah.
yeah, she was.
So what was the biggest misconception of you, high school, college, and in the WNBA?
That I was lazy, like I didn't do
Oh, it was the
extra.
same in all three?
Yeah, all three actually.
Wow.
I
Okay.
got, I'm 6'4", taller than everybody in high school, and the biggest thing I could hear was, "Oh, she lazy." Da, da, da. But if I'm so lazy, then why am I getting double? That's not
Double
laziness.
double machine.
And it's like people don't understand. Like I was running that floor like a track star. Like I'm out here. It got to the point where I remember of our highlight film. I blocked somebody and I went down the floor. I'm dribbling the ball. My 6'4" behind it dribbling the ball, and I'm just like, in my never just like, all right, like we're gonna bring the ball down today. I was like, no, you're gonna bring this ball down today. And in college, I would also hear that too. Now, granted, yes, I could have done extra, but I wasn't doing nothing. If
Right.
that, because a lot of people were trying to make it like, oh, she's only this because she's tall, or she's this or else. I'm like, no. Being tall is literally just being tall. You have to do something with that. And if I'm being honest with you, being tall kind of puts you at a disadvantage because you're immediately stuck into, oh, you're big man. You're gonna go down there and you're gonna bang in the paint. And I was like, but I can dribble. No, go bang in the paint. And now instead of just guarding the five, you gotta guard 1 through 5.
Right.
Um, but yeah. Ouch.
I can dig it. What is it? Like I said, I worked event staff at Colonial Life Arena, man. Y'all made people turn out. Like, what is that like? I know the WNBA is picking up steam in terms of crowd participation. But what would you say to game day atmosphere at Colonial Life Arena, just in general?
Yo, Gamecock Nation. Like, first of all, I loved when we finally started like referring to them for real as like Gamecock Nation, because I was just like, this is fire. Like Dutch Fort Gym is only but so, but you go from packing a gym at Dutch Fort to packing Colonial Life Arena, and it's crazy because I literally watched the growth of it, which was actually a big reason why I chose to go to South Carolina. I wanted to be a part of like a Cinderella team. When I was in the sit anywhere you wanted to with this, and it was still a talented group of girls on the floor, but you could sit anywhere that you wanted to. And as the years go by, it gets more and more crowded. And then when I'm there and after my first home game and like all these people who have just been coming and coming over the years, and it was just like, we were excited for you, we were waiting for you to come. Like, it literally is like you're waiting for a family member after the game when it's over, because they're so welcoming. Playing in front of Colonial Life literally made me want to, like, I wasn't there physically, but I just wanted to go out there and dunk on somebody, like, just for this. Like, Gamecock Nation really made me want to be my best self. And of course, I didn't want to let Coach Staley down. I didn't want to let my teammates down. I didn't want to let myself down. I didn't want to let Colonial Life Arena down. I didn't want to let Gamecock Nation down, because there are so many people that work in that arena too. Like, a lot of people also don't know, we would be fed. Well, yeah, we would get fed, especially on the Sunday games, and we would be rushing up the steps to go get our omelets made and stuff. Like, everyone was just so nice and welcoming. It's just like, it's a wonderful work environment to come into. So it's just like, why, me speaking for me personally, why not give that same energy back, but just on the court,
Right.
You joy by making me omelets and making sure that everything is situated with us. I'm gonna bring you joy by banging on these girls and getting a double on their head. I got you. Mutual respect.
So how do you walk through campus then compared to now? Like, because you're watching everything evolve now. So before, you was a student / athlete walking through campus, and now you're technically a campus legend
And a professional.
and a professional, and now a champion walking through campus.
It's crazy. I haven't actually walked through the campus itself, and I don't want to, because first of all, there's a certain area. I cannot remember for the life of me, but it's so far away. Out my my little area or whatever has now just been confined to, like, the front office, Colonial Life, and the apartments, more so for the parking garage. Yeah, but I feel like if I was to go back on the campus now, no, I really don't know. I would just be like, oh, little college kids. I did not like school. Eight kids. So I'm just like, oh, yep. Come on, future whatever's of the world. Go be great.
So
That's
let me ask. So what was your game day food thing? I know you mentioned the omelets. Like, what was your favorite restaurant in Columbia? What was your favorite meal before a game? Let's get some insight.
Okay. So I'm gonna speak. Actually, okay. So someone talked about this before. I'll talk for like away games, because we really only got the omelets and stuff for like those 12 o'clock games, those 3 o'clock
Yeah.
games. Yeah. Besides that, they would always have, like, the buffet style stuff for us, and I actually would consistently eat well done steak.
She a savage.
Yeah. Well done steak. I've seen the lights. I understand medium well is the way to go now, for sure. But yeah, it was I don't even know if I was putting veggies on the plate, if I'm being honest with you. I am a huge meat eater. I have changed my ways now, but it was definitely steak and possibly veggies, and that was literally for everything. We go on the road, and we go to the restaurant we have already predetermined what we were gonna eat. It was always a steak. It was never not a steak.
Say,
So
I'm a predator. I'm a predator on this court too.
yeah, we need to eat like predator, and we gonna go crazy on the court. Because in my mind, meat equated to energy. I'm in college. I don't know. I'm just like, I feel good. I'm eating steak and I'm doing this afterward. I'm like, it's working. I don't know.
Now, I mean, in a real way, like, and there's so much more left of your career, and we probably won't get it all in this particular episode, man. But Gamecock football here is crazy for South Carolina, for the state, for the city of Columbia. Y'all legitimately like neck and neck.
Yeah.
And there are not that many women's programs that can say that with their predecessors. So with their the other people.
And that is a huge like testament to Coach Staley. Like, she continues, like, not even as a player anymore, she just continues to show how she is just such an elite overall coach and player. Like, everybody knows what, how USC football, like how big USC football is for like USC. For women's anything to be up right there with them, like, it's a huge sense of pride. And even though I'm not, I can still do my thing from the outside to be able to brag and be like, Coach Staley, it's a whole nother level for them. And she continuously keeps building good teams, because I'm telling you, right, this team right now.
Yes, this team's serious.
Full games, but this team right now.
Yes.
Scary.
Yes.
Scary. And it's like, she's going to continue to have this effect on these kids. And it's just like, I love the fact that she has so much going for her, and she's done so much like that has her name attached to it, to where she can continue to do this and continue to keep getting this high level of athletes to come through here and continue to build on the legacy that is USC basketball. Well, Coach Staley's USC women's basketball.
I wanted to ask you, what was your relationship with the boys? Like, the boys is watching y'all dominate, watching y'all bring people in, watching the energy. Like, do y'all just socialize and just uplift them? Like, did y'all interact with the boys team through your years at USC? Like, what was that? What was that like? Because I know if I'm on the men's team and I'm watching, I'm like, damn, like,
I'm gonna go play for them.
Yeah, like, I'm about to pull a Joanna man out here. I'm about to.
Wig, come on, put the wig on.
Yeah, like, so what was y'all interaction, and how did y'all socialize and keep both sides uplifted?
It really wasn't that hard. We actually, in my opinion, I felt like we were around each other a lot more than I would have expected. And you also got to think about it too. A lot of athletes kind of run in the same
social circles.
Yeah, the same circles. And then also even with like the majors and stuff that we chose. So we were like in the same classes, if not in the same classes, like we could be in the same building or anything like that. Especially freshman year though. But it really wasn't hard to, mess with them. I love Sin. I think Sin just had a birthday that came through that just happened. But Sin, Justin, Dwayne, Justin, Matt, Dwayne Notice, they all came in my rookie year. And I know that we were around each other a lot. We ate they were at the Doty often. Sometimes we'd be coming in and they'd be leaving, or vice versa. But yeah, I mean, it really wasn't hard. And we would go to each other's games too. Like, sometimes it would be a little rough trying to get into the guys' games, because, more people are in there, were in there, and it was a little bit rougher. But it was always nothing but love, and it was like support. Like, I'm still cool with the majority of the people that were there that, I knew to this day, like Dwayne, Justin Mackey, Sendarius, like, we still cool. So yeah, I don't know, the athletes just tend to, we just tend to gravitate towards each other. But yeah, it was definitely fun having the camaraderie with them.
Okay. We doing a lot of Carolina stuff, man. But like, one of the questions that, what was the situation that took you from Chicago to Vegas? And what was your thoughts when you first heard that was a possibility?
So it was actually a long road to get to Vegas.
Yeah.
So my rookie year, got drafted to Chicago, stayed. The following year, I went back to Chicago, but we got a coach. And I'm gonna say I wasn't his cup of tea. And so I was traded to Minnesota. I was with Minnesota for a little while, and mm, things I'm gonna just say things didn't work out. And then I ended up with Atlanta. And then I was able to finish the season out with Atlanta. So that was year 2.
Okay.
Year 3 was 2020 in the bubble year,
Right.
and with the Washington Mystics. Um, and then 2021, less of my choice. I didn't play with anybody, and that stung. It did sting. I can say that. And honestly, once we got past the 2020 season, there was a little bit of dip with my mental health, and I took it upon myself before, and this is also going to lead to Vegas. So, in the time frame of after the 2020 season to towards the end of 2023 with Vegas, um, I was able to get my mind back right, my mental back right. I decided to seek out therapy. I was able to find two different therapists that worked really well for me, and I was able to link with my fellow Dutch Fork alum. His name is Dante Marks. He is my trainer. We have been working together for the past 3 years, and I knew that there was something that just kind of wasn't clicking for me when it came to like those years that I wasn't there, because anybody can see that these teams, there's something about me that these teams still want, and that makes a lot of people mad, and I don't care, because God is going to continue to bless me, and I'm going to continue to use my gifts where he sees fit for me to use them. And I feel like because I took the time to get the things that I internally needed to get right, I was rewarded with being able to go with the best team in the W, with literally one of the best coaches, the best staff all around the board. And I was able to play with Asia again, and I was able to form these great, amazing bonds with this new group of girls. And now I'm a WNBA champ.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to say this really stings? Like you hear athletes talk about. We had another Dutch Fork alumni. He played professional football in the Canadian League, and Terrence Quaterbaum. So I know you heard of Quaterbaums. They run all through Dutch Fork. But he talked about needing therapy and being down after an injury, and he said it stung. Like, how long does it take for you to realize something stung, and how much appreciation do you have after you got over that mountain?
Honestly, it really just depends on your willingness to self-reflect. Um, after the year, and like no one was really like checking for me, I was just like stung more so for me, because I was like, I knew as those years were going on that like something was up. And so it stung more for me because, and I was able to realize it more because internally I was able to look inside and realize you're really not doing enough for like this level. Um, and it was just super important for me to figure out what it was that I needed to do to fix that, because it just doesn't feel right. And when stuff stings and you realize that it stings, it'll take you to a whole nother level of motivation if you allow yourself to put yourself in that mindset of, all right, I'm gonna let this motivate me. I'm not gonna let this keep me down.
Yeah. But you said it stung, but you stayed in shape. Like some people said it stung and I got out of shape. I had to, but it just seems like you kept balling, even though you said it stung. Like you were still in the gym, you were still working out. Like that's what I mean. Like how much did it sting? But you still kept your body in shape, or is that just because you're a machine and you've been doing it all your life?
It was for that one. It was more of an mental and emotional thing, for
Yeah.
sure. Because I'm the type to, I like to, like, I guess, release aggression. So like if I'm getting worked up or anything, I'll do a spontaneous workout. I'll go to the gym. Dante, I'll hit him up and I'll just be like, can we do something? And well, 9 times out of 10, now he's a busy man, but 9 times out of 10, he'll make room for me. And yeah, I don't know. The mental and emotional things, they hurt. I feel like they suck worse than like the other ones. But me, I've always been the type to, I hate feeling like I'm 10 steps behind people. And I kind of feel like that's something that contributed to me also wanting to continue to work out, get to the gym, just do that stuff, because there were times when I was in high school, I'm laying up, we have breaks and stuff. I'm laying up, I'm eating the Hershey's Kisses drop, laying my bed, watching the Food Network, and come back from break, and I just feel like I'm sluggish, I'm behind. And it's like, well, what's going on? And I got to the point where I was tired of feeling like that. And once I created good habits surrounding that, it just turned into we just gonna go to the gym. We just gonna stay up. Period.
Look, I appreciate all the time that you've given us with this, man. This has been super dope for me, from a homer level, from a fan level. And one of the questions that was asked, I don't know if you saw it or not. I know the text is kind of small, but on the way I like, what's the difference? What's the major difference in playing here and playing internationally?
Mm. Get to the time difference first and foremost. That will do something to your body. Um, Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, they're way dirtier overseas than they play in the States. Like, they let you get away with so much over here, which also, again, I'm kind of just like, cool, because I bang, you knock me down, I'm gonna get right back up. But definitely just kind of getting acclimated to um wherever you are in terms of like getting acclimated to coaching staff that, there's a language, I'm gonna just say language barrier.
Mm,
Barrier and time difference, I would say, are really the two things. Well, language barrier, time difference, and what they let you get away with.
right.
The biggest things that are different from playing in the States and playing over here, because banging with people over here is entirely different than banging with people in the States.
Right.
Like, here, they might try to. Well, I don't know. Draymond out here putting people in a
Yeah,
chokehold.
he is. Draymond headlocking people.
Draymond just needed the extra game off. That's all.
But in a weird sense, that could happen. Well, I keep saying here, not necessarily Turkey, because just a quick story. When I played in China, I think 4 or 5, maybe 6, I can't remember, years ago, there was this one team, and I'm gonna put them on blast because it pissed me off. We were playing at home, and I remember there was a loose ball. Y'all know me, I die for the ball. I get it to my teammate. There's 3 girls from the other team that were on the floor with me. They tried to pin me down, so I couldn't get up. Like, that's how dirty it can get. And it's just like, you know what? I'm a child of God. I ain't gonna put my hand on nobody's kid, but okay, I say that. So that just a quick example of just how dirty it could get. And yeah, you could get hit with a Draymond headlock, honestly. So, but I mean, in the States, typically, your team coming off the bench real quick, and we gonna get active. Over here, sometimes the I keep calling them the foreign players, even though technically we're the foreign players. The players who are native to this land, they're more so like, no, 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 no. Like, they'll go to the refs, they'll go to the other, they'll try to separate it. Meanwhile, we just like, no, we're not doing it. So yeah.
Somebody asked, "How'd you stay humble?"
I was just raised up that way. My parents just raised a humble kid. Me personally, arrogance makes me itch. Like, I really can't stand when, and you know what? I just understand that I wasn't I was born. I mean, I was gifted these talents. Like, this wasn't something that was just, I just grew up and it was just like, oh, really good at basketball. Give me that. Like, no, it was in me this entire time, and I understand that none of this where I'm at now, my entire journey, none of it would have been possible without God. So he plays a big role in my life, and I understand that literally nothing could have been done without him. And yeah, I I just, and if honestly trying to even think of myself being arrogant just makes me like cringe. I just can't even see it, honestly. And I just
I want
like that.
I wanted to ask real quick because we really didn't touch too much. What was championship day like for you? And then after the whistle blown and the bell rung, like what was winning that championship like?
Whew. So championship day, there were a lot of emotions going in. We lost Chelsea, we lost Kia. Um, we're playing at New York again. And we hadn't won at New York at their spot. Um, we had beat them twice at home, came back for game 3, and we lost. No matter how bad that we wanted to win the game, and it was, how when you want something so bad, sometimes you can just do too much. I feel like we wanted that win. We wanted to beat New York. We wanted to beat them at their place so much that, because every time we played them there, me personally, I felt like we did not look like ourselves, and
Mm.
it was just a lot. I felt like there was, I wouldn't want to say tension, but there was some type of like hype there. And it's another reason why I love this group. Literally the day before, we were hanging out, we were playing card games, we were playing hot take, just eating, having a good time, vibing. Like we watched film, like we were just doing what we had been doing since I got there. This group genuinely likes each other, and people think it's arrogant. No, we like each other. We're having fun on the court. We're having fun on the bench. We're just having fun everywhere. And me personally, I don't understand how people just can't see that, instead of just being like, oh, y'all are arrogant. But I mean, I digress. God got us, so we just gonna keep doing what we doing. Let the haters hate. It is what it is. Um, I could go on and on about this organization. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I'm
When
so
but
happy.
when the
What?
buzzer went off, it took me a minute to realize what had happened, because it was a 1 point game. Like it was stressful. It
And
was
they had the ball, right? It was a matter of a rebound.
they had the ball. Oh, I was just like, oh. But I had faith, and I was the biggest cheerleader of that game. I was like, there was nothing you could have told me that would have made me be like, oh, we're gonna lose this game today. Oh, we're gonna have to go back to Vegas. First of all, we did not want to go back to Vegas that much. That's enough motivation right there. We were not trying to bring, like, we love our people in Vegas. It would have been nice to have it there. We're gonna come back for the parade. We're not gonna come back for the game. We're not gonna stretch out like this. So when Sloop had that ball in the corner, now I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. I was happy that she missed, but I was a little surprised because we played together in Chicago my freshman year, my rookie year. Um, so to see her miss like that caught me off guard, but at the same time I was like, thank you. And then it really wasn't until, because even when the buzzer sounded, it didn't do nothing for me. It wasn't until I saw Asia Jackie, like the starters running towards us, and I was just like,
Wait a minute.
I was like, yo, we just won. We just won. I was so hyped. I didn't know what to do. I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I was crying, like, and I was just so thankful. Like, there's a video of Coach Taylor and I that was on Twitter that circulated. She she came on the court, and I went and I scooped her up and I was hugging her and I was just crying and I was just saying thank you, because what people don't understand is I was having a rough time trying to get the on the court getting runs in element going on, and she allowed me to be a practice player. And then literally within the same week of me becoming a practice player for her, get the call from Vegas, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this was what I needed. Like, thank you. Oh, such as I love taking that moment back. And then even with Becky, like I just had a huge wave of thankfulness, gratefulness, because I didn't have to be the one to be here. Things could have happened another way in this universe. And I was able to be blessed in this situation, and I was hugging Becky and I was crying. I was just like, yo, thank you. Like, not even because we won a championship, but just thank you for taking a chance on me and giving me a chance to get in your system and just grow. Like, granted, I came in late, but she treated me like everybody else. And the one thing that I can say I haven't been granted, except from Amber in totality, is patience and time to really get my feet under myself. And I'm gonna always be forever grateful for everything. And I'm gonna continue with my butt off so we can go back.
As you should. As you should. Man, look, I tell people all the time when they come and join us for the show, like the most valuable thing that we have in life, the most valuable currency is time.
Mm.
Um, I know you have a million and one important things to do. I cannot thank you enough for sharing your time with us and retelling some of these great stories and just showing a part of, like, for people that you watch in, sports, you don't know the background of people, man. You are such a grounded, humble, super real person. Again, I can't thank you enough.
No, honestly, like, thank you. Shoot, I just be doing stuff, and I understand that I have a story that people would want to hear and should hear. I feel like my story is good inspiration for the young girls that, or just anyone who is constantly getting put on different teams, is not playing. Don't ever give up. And granted, yes, I didn't play that much for, but it's motivation moving forward so that I be more of a role player. Like, just never give up. Like, your time is coming. It might seem like it's not, but if there's one thing that I want, like, these younger girlies and like these girlies my age going through my situation, just do not give up. God got you. Your time is coming. I promise.
Say that. What you got for him, Carolina?
Oh, this the way out?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I appreciate her coming on here. Like at being in the show, uh, I grew up with one of her teammates. She's a lot younger than me, but I watched her grow up, and I knew about you before I even saw you, before I even knew who you was. But once again, going back to uh, just being from, like my homeboy said, the eye of the storm, being from Irmo, representing Columbia, representing Dutch Ford, representing the Gamecocks, representing every team you played for. Um, like somebody
Representing
said,
young ladies everywhere.
yeah, young black women everywhere. You seem very humble, and when you said the thing about the lazy, I was shocked, but everybody has their opinion. They might have not watched your feet move. They might not have paid attention to your blocks. They might have not have paid attention to how much you studied the game, you being in a proper position on the court, you cheering on your teammates. A lot of times people don't see the small stuff, but I appreciate you, and we appreciate the small stuff. Obviously, that we pointed out in this episode. You welcome to come back. This episode was real professional for us because usually we're just on here clowning and taking shots and shit.
Ah,
We try to be respectful to you, and see a better side of us. But usually we're cracking jokes. Usually I'm talking shit to whoever the guest is, making fun of them. But this episode was very dope. It was very insightful. I thank you for your time, as my brother said. My quote is network is superpower. You can come on whenever you want. You don't even have to really be doing shit. Like if you just be like, hey, I just want to sit on and see who y'all got and be quiet. You can do that. You can say, hey, I want to be a host. We just love any and everybody that come on this platform. We have an open chair for you anytime you want to come on.
thank you, because I for sure will be back.
Well, you get shit talk you next time you come back. You're gonna be ready. I'm talking shit next time. I'll let you know. You see me drinking, I'm kind of quiet. I'm taking my shots by myself quiet, but
It's all right. See, now I'm definitely coming back. For sure.
We love it, man. Again, no matter what, I think one of the most important things that, about your story is, and I'll leave it out the lazy part. You can't be a champion in anything being lazy. You cannot. Now, is it my fault that I make it look easier? That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. You know what I'm saying? That like what Dion say, are you mad because I look good? Like, don't do that. And we need to support each other. We need to look out for people just in general. I mean, more more importantly, people that look like us, but recognizing that people have their ups, recognizing people have their downs, and just be there to support them in a real way. Again, I cannot thank you. Like, this is a dream for me. I never thought I would get a chance to have a real conversation with you. Shout out to you. Shout out to my brother for making this happen. Um, I wish you all the success, everything that you want out of life. I hope that you get it tenfold. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really do. From anybody that genuinely means that, I thank you for real, and thank you for having me on here. Like, even though it was more like, I had a good time.
Oh,
We
I'm
very
talking
much
shit next time. Fuck that. I'm talking.
Yeah, he's a jerk. Like, I try to be a little bit more professional. He's a jerk, but I let him get his jerk off.
No, hell no.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah, pause. Pause. Hell no.
This is my brother, so I don't have to pause nothing because that's my brother and that's it. Hey man, look, until the next time, we love everything that you do. We can't wait to see you again. This has been the Bottom of the Bottle Show, man. Y'all check out the Las Vegas Aces. Y'all check out y'all local NCAA women's basketball, the dub in general. And just be good to people, man. Love the people who love you back. And until the next time, man, be easy. We gone.